أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا. وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنون بهذا الحديث أسفا.
It's a beautiful day to be here, and of course a fantastic reason to be in front of your screen. It's a Salah special edition on the Medley show. Yes, I'm sure we're all in the mood of celebration. Yes, it's Eid Mubarak to all our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our friends, everybody. It's Eid Mubarak to all of you. Yes, it's been a full month of the Ramadan, and now it's time to celebrate and thank God for all the blessings that came with that beautiful exercise. So welcome to the Medley Show. My name is Tochi, and of course, you know, it's always a great time with us on the show when you get to spend 1 hour of great content, great conversation, and great features that we put together, you know, to make the show memorable for you. And like I said, it is our Salah special edition, and of course, today we'll be going down memory lane. How fun Salah has been from, you know, when we were kids. I mean, I don't celebrate Salah, but I celebrate with my Muslim friends. And so I also have memories of how we've been able to celebrate Salah over the years up until today. And I also will be joined by some fantastic guests in the studio who we will be having that conversation with. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready? And hopefully some people get to bring food for me in the studio today, because of course it's Salah. What's a celebration without eating? Right about now, we will kickstart the show. I mean, I'm sure you saw that recitation by the children. So from that, we give you a feature now on the Salah celebration. Watch this, and when we get back, my guests will be here in the studio, and we get to talk about Salah. We'll be right back.
In the last 10 days, Muslims engaged in increased acts of worship. Charity and acts of kindness were also emphasized to seek multiple rewards and Allah's mercy, making the end of Ramadan a time of joyous celebrations. Eid-Fitr, known as the festival of breaking the fast, is a significant religious holiday celebrated by Muslims worldwide, marking the conclusion of fasting, spiritual growth, and reflection during the holy month. Muslims engage in charitable acts by giving Zakat al-Fitr, a form of charity to help those in need, ensuring everyone can partake in the festivities, which last for 3 days. This charity is highly encouraged to be given out on the night of the last day of Ramadan or earlier in the morning before going out for Eid al-Fitr. On Eid al-Fitr, Muslims gather for special prayers known as Salat al-Eid, usually held in Jumat mosques or large open areas. The prayer is observed in gratitude to Almighty Allah for the blessings of Ramadan. After the prayer, a sermon is delivered by the Imam, conveying messages of unity, gratitude, and forgiveness. These days are characterized by joyous gatherings with family and friends, where delightful meals are prepared and enjoyed together. It's a time of gratitude, celebration, and bonding, with Muslims adoring themselves in their finest attire and exchanging gifts. Additionally, many Muslims visit the graves of their departed loved ones to honor their memory, seek Allah's forgiveness for them, and reflect on their own mortality.
Thank you so much for that feature, Ridwan. I did promise you that I'll be joined by a guest in the studio. Two guests actually, but I have one here already. In the person of Hajia Khadija Haruna. Hajia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm
sure
good.
you're super excited. I know you're excited, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, of course. After 30 days of fasting, and then you get to start today with eating. You know, there's a feeling that comes with that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very
much. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so I mean, today we've been having conversations about what Ramadan means, the lessons of Ramadan, all the fasting, blah blah blah. But today we want to talk about Salah in it. So I want to go down for some part of the show. You know, go down memory lane, talk about Salah. I'm sure you've been. At what age did you start fasting actually?
At about 6.
6.
Yeah, I may not fast the complete 30 days, but at least I fast.
Wait, for 6 days you would go the whole?
No, not straight up.
To done.
You know, we go to school. So some days when you're going to school, my parents would tell me, I don't think you should fast today because I don't trust you. Because when you go to school, you might eat or you drink something or you even forget because you see your classmates eating and all of that. So weekends, any other day you promise, okay, I want to fast today on your own. But by the time I was 10, I was used to it.
Wow, that's amazing. I think when I was 6, if my mom was going to make us fast, we probably would fast from 6 to 12 and then you're already screaming for food or something. So if at 6, you could do the dusk to dawn, that's amazing.
That was from age 4.
Wow.
Those are the times I just say, okay, you're fasting. So once it's 12 and you're throwing tantrums, okay, you have tried.
Well, that's the fact that you're even able to do at all, that's fine. Anyway, so I want us to talk about, you know, I did say when I was opening that I always had people around me who celebrated Salah. So actually we used to look forward to Salah, whether it's the big one or the small. I mean, we didn't even know the difference.
Yeah.
Because once it's Salah, hey, there was this Alaji that lived very close. I grew up in Jos. Okay. So there was this Alaji that lived close to us. So he would, from the early hours of the morning, he had like, I think 4 wives. So this wife would bring bowl of food and meat and drinks, and then by noon another set of food before Alaji would now come by himself because it was my daddy's right. So we just used to look forward to Salah, whether it was the big one or the small. So I want us to talk about your fondest memories of Salah, growing up until now. It could even be when you got married, it could be at any point in your life, your fondest memories.
Okay, so I grew up in Kano.
Yeah.
I'm from Kano, and then when we were growing up, my dad liked taking us for the Doba. So I used to look forward to it. It was at some point it was in Katsina, and then subsequently we moved to Kano. So I just looked forward to that all the time. Like, okay, that's where we're going to. Sometimes not even food. As soon as it's Eid is over rather, and then we head for the Doba, and then we head on to watch Doba. I'm usually very excited. Then sometimes we travel to the same Castina again to watch Doba, and then I had stepmom from Castina that sometimes when we go to the Emir's Palace, it can be very exciting. Loads of people, you see different culture, displays and all. So that used to be the fondest memory for me. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Anyway, we're going to get back to that conversation because I still have a lot of stories to tell and I'm sure you have so much more. But right now, we went to the streets to find out, like I said, it's been a whole month of Ramadan, so we went to the street to find out lessons people learned from Ramadan, and this is what we came back with. Watch this and we'll be right back.
It's been magical, to be honest. It's been a blessing. And it's been a magical journey, and we're just grateful to be able to witness it this year.
Well, it's been amazing. It's been educative. It's been, I've experienced self-fulfillment, self-contentment, and satisfaction, alhamdulillah. So, usually every Ramadan you pray to be a better version of yourself, to surpass where you're coming from. And alhamdulillah, I think I've experienced one or two things that has made me satisfied that, okay, I've passed where I was coming from. Alhamdulillah.
It's taught me to be humble. It has taught me to understand that in life there are people that are having challenges, basic things of life, eating and what have you. So if you have opportunity to help others, at least I'm a tutor to be able to understand what others are going through, people that don't have the means to eat and what have you. So I can give sadaqah, give out charity. The spirit of helping others, basically, it has instilled that in me, and the fear of God as well.
So you just learn about peace, and you learn about other people's situations, you learn about getting closer to God, and you learn about so many things about Islam and the world, about God himself, about the Quran, because we read a lot of Quran, so we learn about all these things, and you just have a lot of peace. It's a peaceful one.
So many blessings. So many blessings. We pray for increase in wealth, status, good health, and expansion, so to say.
Those are voices from the street, and of course what they learned, lessons learned from this Ramadan. This is a Medley show, and this is our Salah special edition. I still have Hajia Khadija in the studio. Hajia, so I'm going to ask you, those were lessons from the street, so I want to hear your lessons from the Ramadan, beg your pardon. What were the lessons that you learned from this Ramadan?
A whole lot.
Okay.
Well, every Ramadan, I would want to say it's the same.
Well, before you answer that, let me interrupt you a little bit. Remember, our phone lines are now open. Yes, I'm opening it quite early today because I want to take your messages and have enough time to read them on the show. So the number is 091-3898-9550. Send in your messages. Please do not call, I beg you. Just send in messages, ask questions, comments, whatever it is, and of course, I'll get to read it on the show. So Hajia, please go ahead.
Right. So lessons of Ramadan, there are usually a whole lot. You may not absorb all of them. Patience. That's
a good virtue.
That's one of the biggest lessons, because already you are fasting, so you are tested by hunger and thirst. So already you are already at the edge. You have the tendency to flare up at any point in time and all. As such, you are taught to be very, very patient, and that's why lots of times it's said, even when you are tempted, you should always say, I'm fasting, and just move on. So that will keep you in check and keep reminding you that, okay, you cannot afford to get angry or go above board. So, and then you are conscious, because you are fasting, and you know what you are fasting, you know the reasons why you are fasting, you are conscious to want to always pray at every time you are maybe in your solitude or you are quiet. So patience, because of that patience, it leads you into lots of other things that you find yourself doing naturally, religious-wise.
Oh wow, that's a lot amongst a whole other lessons. Patience is a very good virtue. The fact that you would have to stay from dusk to dawn without taking anything, that is some patience. But truth be told, honestly, Hajia, whether when you were a child, I'm not talking about when you were throwing tantrums and all that. Has there been any time that you were so tempted and you broke your fast?
No.
Never?
Never.
Wow.
All that can happen is for me to go to sleep. That's the best. My mother spoke to me last 3 days ago, and she said, she's in Kano right now, and she said, the fasting was so difficult that she almost broke it, and my brother was telling her, please don't put me to shame. You can't do this now. She said it was so difficult. It was hot. Everywhere was
the
hot.
weather wasn't even helping.
But you cannot afford to say you want to break it off, because you can't even be tempted. Sometimes even if you are tempted, when you remember what you are doing, it keeps you going. It keeps you going, because at the time you start feeling,
you say you can't even be tempted, you must.
You can't be tempted.
You must be.
But when that temptation comes, you can't fight.
The essence of fasting is that that temptation is what reminds you that you're fasting.
Yes.
I feel like if you're fasting and you're not hungry, you're not fasting.
So you'll be hungry. No, you may not be hungry.
And you're hungry.
But that's why we do.
You may not be hungry. Okay.
We do early breakfast.
Yeah, that's
it's called sahur. Yes. So it keeps you going, funny enough, and that's why when scientists came out to say breakfast is very important, I understand what they mean, because it keeps you going. What's the real temptation is maybe thirst.
Yeah, because of the weather.
And even
this
if
has
you're
been the
at work,
hottest
you
weather
have to
we've
keep
had.
talking, even when the weather is not hot, and you have to go to work, or even go to the market to do your normal day-to-day things, you get thirsty, your mouth gets dry and all. So that's where the real temptation is.
Okay, so let's talk about family traditions. I mean, if we have to, in my family, if we have to celebrate Christmas or Easter or whatever it is, there are traditions. There are things that we know. This thing must happen this week. Once it's Christmas, it's not like it's a laid-down rule, but it's peculiar to my family. So let's talk about family traditions that you've been able to build over the years when it comes to Salah or celebrations like this.
Okay, so when you say traditions, do you mean what has to be done on Salah?
When I say tradition, like I said, it's peculiar to my family. It's your family tradition. It's not like it's written down anywhere or it has to, but it's an unwritten rule that everybody in your family knows that it's Salah, this has to be. It has
New
to be
clothes.
this way. Right.
Okay,
I think that is
outfit.
I think that is the same
Even
across
if you
everywhere.
don't have clothes all through the year, you may not even have any new clothes all through the year, but once it is Salah, you know, it can be more than one pair, two, but you know that you're going to have a new outfit.
Okay, traveling is not one of it.
Traveling was not one of it for me.
Okay.
Because my family house was right in my hometown.
Okay.
So traveling would, even if we had to travel, it would be to Castina, that's my stepmother's place and all, but it wasn't part of it for me.
Okay, so there's one thing that is one that characterizes the season. Let's talk about the spirit of giving. I mean, coming up from Ramadan, there's something called the zakat.
Yes, zakat al-fitr.
Then up into the Salah. So let's talk about how have you been able, because when I'm talking now, I don't want to talk about just you, because I know you have a family, so I like to, put it all together. So how have you and your family been able to embrace the spirit of giving in this season up until Salah?
Okay, so embracing the season for us in my family is from the time of sightation of the moon
Okay.
to start the fast.
Oh wait, the moon is seen before you start the fast.
The moon has to be sighted, and if it's not sighted, then you complete the 30 days of that particular month before we go into Ramadan. So from the moment Ramadan comes up or when it starts, that spirit of giving is normal in my family, because almost every day, not like I said, almost every day, not every day, when we want to break our fast, when my husband is going to the mosque, he takes drinks. If it is not drink, it is food. If it is not food and is raw food, it has to go before Iftar, before breaking of fast and all. So it's a tradition, like it's already part of us.
That's another family tradition.
Yes, it's already part of us, and it's already part of our Ramadan up until Eid-Fitr. So by the time it's a few days to Salah, we have to do the zakat. It's more like, okay, the obligation of the religion. But from the time Ramadan starts, it's usually, that's the tradition. It's usual. I can't cook just for us. So it has to be in excess, because we're taking to the mosque
who
or to
are not
any
able to afford it.
Yeah.
So, still spinning off from the spirit of giving, how does Ramadan, the fasting, how does it create unity amongst not just your family, your community, for people around you?
So the spirit of giving, I think, extends to that unity you're talking about, because for some people they may not be home before Iftar, which is from any moment from 6:37. But because they know that, okay, there's this communal eating and prayer towards the breaking of the fast, everybody wants to be around at that time. So it brings that unity.
Around anywhere they can find food.
Not anywhere they can find food, but yes, probably anywhere they can find food. But say, for example, now, my neighbors probably don't come back home early, but during Ramadan, you see everybody around during breaking of fast.
Wow.
So whatever it is they're doing, they're trying to mop up. Like, everybody knows I have to be home, I have to be around the house at this time, because of that communal breaking of fast and wanting to be around each other to break fast.
I mean, that's one of the things I like about it. My favorite part of the Ramadan, like I said, I'm not Muslim, but it's a communal eating.
Yes,
I've been invited by a couple of friends, to for the iftar, and it may just be around people that I don't know. I mean, I may be familiar with just one person in that crowd, but you get to bond, meet friends. You just look at, there was a video I saw of my neighbor. He doesn't break fast at home. He doesn't break his fast at home. But you get to know everything that happens when he's breaking his fast, because you see, it's like a crowd of about 30 people, 30 mostly guys. Then there's food, a lot of food, they pour it in the tray, and then everybody is dipping their hand and eating at the same time. You can collect the water this person is drinking from him. Like, there's just that togetherness. What you know, it's not, that may not normally happen on a normal day. We have a culture
too of rotating iftar among our friends and family.
Oh wow, that's
so if
cool.
this family decides to host iftar all this time around, another family will host like that. It may not be for the 30 days. But you know that some days you will be invited for iftar and all. Ramadan generally builds or encourages that spirit of unity a whole lot.
Okay, but before I was going to ask you something, but before I get into that, let's talk about food. What's a celebration without food? I mean, even anybody that is not a foodie suddenly likes food when there's a celebration, because there's so much food around you. So I want to talk about some culinary delights. Like, what are your favorite salad dishes? Like, what is that one thing that, even if you're going to change your menu this salad, there's one thing that always makes it to the menu? What are your favorite things to prepare during salad?
Is this personal?
Talking to you.
So, it's masa.
Oof.
Masa is one, and there's sinasir.
Okay, I'm not sure I know what that is.
So it's just like masa, but it's not, so like pancake.
Right.
But in the shape of masa is white, not like, pancake is like milk color.
Did you bring any?
No, I didn't. I ran out of my house because you guys chased me out of the house.
Oh no, we don't chase. Like, we appreciate your coming here. I understand that it's a public holiday.
Yeah. So that's what because rice is usually normal for every celebration, not just Salah.
Okay.
So then maybe not the regular rice.
Okay.
Maybe you find a new cuisine that has to do with rice, and then you decide to want to put it up and all. So, but masa and sinasir is usually
they must be there. Oh, I wish you brought that sinasir. I grew up in Jos, but I haven't even heard about that before.
Really?
And I want to try it. So hopefully off camera, you'll get to do something about it, because as much as I have northern friends, nobody has ever really like mentioned that to me. I haven't heard it before. Masa, masa is a go-to.
You like it with the soup or just with either with sugar or pepper? With the
sugar?
Yeah.
They eat masa with sugar.
My daughter eats it with pepper, with sugar or honey.
Wow.
Yeah. She doesn't like it with any other thing except sugar or honey.
Oh no, with pepper. I grew up eating it with pepper, and that's what I still prefer. I have eaten it with soup a few times, but pepper is the in thing. But speaking of your daughter, I want to know, how are you helping? I mean, you have your own memories from when you were growing up. When I was growing up, besides us going out to create our own, my mom was part of helping us create memories for every festive season. So you did mention your daughter. How are you helping your children create memories that they especially when it comes to festive season, like learning how to give, also trying to fast like you. I mean, you remember that you fasted at 6, and you attributed part of that success to your mother. So how are you helping your own kids build memories from times like the Ramadan and the Salah season?
So we usually, I do tell them they know they have to fast. They have been doing so from.
How old is your youngest?
11.
And he or she's already fasted?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, it's normal. She's used to it. In fact, she's stronger than her older sister.
Wow.
Her older sister, when she's fasting, she may be up in her room up until when it's time to break. The younger sister will always want to come around and check what's happening if there's no TV.
Right.
Check what's happening and but the older sister is always, what are we eating tomorrow from today? What are we breaking our fast with tomorrow? But she's 13. The older one is 13. So, and then during fasting, when they are used to it, like I said, but when it's evening and I can see that they are tired or they are weak, I just let them. But I still keep at it. Like, you cannot just be idle. When you keep yourself busy, you wouldn't feel the fast. You wouldn't feel it if you keep yourself busy and all. then they know that once it's they look forward to going to the mosque for Eid prayers.
Oh wow,
Those are the ones that, because there has to be pictures after Eid prayers and all of those things. So it's not a long time Eid prayers, but they look forward to that morning when we have to go for Eid, and then we come back, and then my older daughter, food.
That one must be a food.
She loves food.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. It's great to help children create memories. You know, teach them things that would be very good lessons for them to use in the future. Anyway, time now to take our shout outs. I have a lot of messages coming in already. Remember, I said to send your messages. You can send shout outs, comments, whatever it is you want us to know about. Just send it to the number on your screen, and we will get to read them on the show. Right now, let's take some shout out messages from some people that we spoke to, and they sent us these messages. Watch this and we'll be right back.
It's a privilege to wish Muslim friends, colleagues, a happy Salah. Wish them the best the moment and the season carries. It's a moment of peace. I wish them a good time with their families and more to witness in life.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to my mom and my parents, my dad and my friends as well. Jibril, we have Engineer Hamid, my brother Ibrahim, and Abdul Malik. Yes, these are all the people I want to shout out to.
I'm here to wish my friend Ibrahim Saidi a prosperous, happy Salah, and may God grant all their heart desires.
Salah shout out to my parents, my cousins, my sisters, my nephews and nieces, and all my friends.
My name is Joseph Emeka. I'm actually wishing you people happy Salah. Actually, the Ramadan has been so long, fasting and everything, but we thank God that it has been brought to a conclusion. I want to wish my friend Hajara, Mustafa, Mubarak, Bobo, Sani, Kanji, and the rest of them a happy Salah and a happy celebration as they celebrate the Salah. And I pray may Almighty Allah bless them and replenish them in Jesus' name.
Thank you so much for the shout out messages. Of course, I'm sure the people who you directed them to will hear you and receive those messages in good faith. Okay, this is still the Medley Show. I have Hajia Khadija in the studio, and we are now being joined by Faisal Umar. Faisal, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell them the same reason you told me? Why you're late?
No, they missed it already.
They missed it already, right? Okay, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Medley Show. Eid Mubarak to you.
Eid Mubarak.
So before you got here, Khadija and I, Hajia Khadija, have been talking about fun Salah memories. You want to share a few with us before we get into other conversations?
Well, nothing too special. I'm an introvert all my life. You'd be amazed to know that on Salah Day, I'd rather recluse myself to studying and doing things that are self-improving.
I'm sorry, what?
I'd rather recluse myself to
Yeah, I heard
studying.
that. I just want to understand why.
Well, I think I'm a person who celebrates myself.
Have you not been studying the entire month?
I love studying. It's my best fun.
And then just that period that you get to spend time with family and eat rice and gist, you still want to study?
Like I said, I don't think there's something special for me, like a special memory that comes with the Eid. It's a beautiful thing. I would make you understand this. Even the idea of Eid in itself, by context, means celebration. And the whole idea why we have Eid, even for us as Muslims, is to go out there and celebrate. Is to celebrate in many ways. So it's for you to celebrate.
Exactly.
My celebration is being with myself and self-improving. But don't get it wrong also. I do a lot of visitations where I can, but the older I get, the less of that visitation.
Wow.
Self-improving is my own idea of celebration.
He's so articulated, like he crammed this script. I came to give it to me. Like, you're not going to make me shift or move for what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it like that. Oga, it is Salah. Calm down. I mean, while you studied, I mean, Hajia Khadija tell us how we've talked about food. Okay, let me find out your favorite culinary, your favorite food during Salah. What's the one food that you look forward to during Salah? Besides, yeah, of course, even if you're carrying food to go and read.
I really,
no problem. Tell me what you like
I
eating.
really want to celebrate your bubble. I don't want to burst the bubble. I'm also not a foodie. So even on Salah Day, the best thing I take on Salah Day is a hot
How
drink.
did Faisal get to my studio? How did that happen? He doesn't like food. He doesn't like to celebrate.
Okay, let me tell you what happened this morning. I got several invitations to come and enjoy the feast of Eid. And then I said I wasn't going to go anywhere until I get my cup of tea. And that's my best meal for the day, if it's a meal, or my best drink. Even when I'm on air, sometimes the air hostesses used to wonder, like, don't you want any drink? In a 16-hour flight, you're asking for tea.
Well, thank you so much to the person who gave Faisal his tea this morning. At least that helped him to make it to our studio today. So how much, let's talk about, I've also talked about this with Hajia. So how much of giving have you done this season?
More than usual.
Okay.
And I'm grateful to God that it happens to be my best year of giving. Maybe my pockets got a little more prosperous, thank God.
Okay.
So I'm grateful to God I was able to fulfill that oath of doing more. So yeah, I did more than I've ever done personally, because I think it's now I'm really understanding I've truly grown. Maybe for a long time I still feel like I haven't grown, because thank God my parents are still alive. When they're still alive, they don't allow you to feel like you've grown, maybe until, you know. But then I'm forcing myself to think I've grown now. I'm a grown up.
Oh, that's good. Let me ask you this. What do you do, Faisal?
I'm a software engineer also, and I'm a broker.
I'm going to stick with the software engineer. That explains a lot of things, but
Yes,
that's okay.
true.
You're nodding too, right?
Yes.
You understand
Yes,
that
I
too,
do.
right?
I do.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to take let's take a few messages, and then we'll get back to the conversation. I hope that's okay, because I see some questions coming in as well. So I have this message from Dodo Agidi in Nasarawa. He says, Eid Mubarak to Muslim Ummah. Let this Ramadan humble us now and henceforth, all through the years. Make peace with one another. Thank you so much, Dodo, for that message. So I have another message. Okay, a minute. Please, can you stop calling? Do not call. Just send me messages. I'll read them on the show. I promise you that. But when you keep calling, I won't take your call on the show. So I have this message from... There is no name, but he says, good afternoon. Oh yeah, good afternoon. I'm Ahmed Lawa from Takum. I wish you happy and a prosperous Eid-Fitr and an amazing Salah from Taraba. I gave food and I also received food from friends and family. Love you all. Thank you so much and well done, Ahmed. This is from James. Says, I'm watching your show. Thanks a lot. I'm learning a lot about the Salah celebration. Okay, have lots of messages. Now this one is a question. There is no name, but he says, when is the perfect time for a Muslim to break their fast? If this, I would like to think this person is not a Muslim, because if you're a Muslim and you were fasting, you would have the answer to that question. Hadia, you want to help this person?
Okay, so it may vary.
Yeah.
From time to time, because of, I think, what will I say now?
The time that you
timing
break the fast,
changes. Yes, it moves. I think from what would I say now?
Sunset.
Sunset. Yes, the timing for sunset changes.
Entirely dependent on sunset.
On sunset, it's entirely dependent on sunset. Yes.
Oh right.
So sunset may be from 6:30. In some countries, it's about 8.
Wow. Country it will change within the same month.
So within the same month, yes, it can change. So it's very much dependent.
So there is no fixed time, because I'm actually of the impression that it's like from it's to 6:45.
So even in the same country, you may start with a particular time at the beginning of Ramadan, and towards the end, it may not be the same timing.
That time anymore. Yeah. But there is no fixed time. It's when you hear the call for prayers, then fasting is over.
No, it's not when you hear the call for prayers. The call for prayers is dependent on the natural time itself. Now, everything in Islam has to have its natural prerequisite, like when the Prophet came to the world and when he left, there aren't watch clocks that we have.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's just natural
light
time.
Exactly. So the fast is from when the dusk. Sorry, when the dawn. There's a particular light, Khayt al-Abiyad min Khayt al-Aswad, the flare of a light that comes in the thick of the night, which indicates that the sun is about to rise, and this is the break of dawn. Then until sunset. Now, the break of dawn it's geographical and it will definitely change.
Okay.
Even within the country, the break of dawn of Lagos State is not the same with Kwara.
That's right.
Neither is Kwara like Kogi with Abuja.
So if I'm in Abuja and I break at 6:45, someone else could break at 7:15.
That's right.
Somebody else could even break at 7:30.
7:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
There are some places in the world now that break their fast at around 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And they start at around 4 a.m. So they actually
sorry,
have just a 5-hour window in
so
the
their
entire
timing
30
is
days.
usually longer.
Wow, I'm glad this person asked this question because I didn't even have this knowledge. Okay,
But
so
I also was thinking maybe he was asking at when the Ramadan season ended, because obviously some people understood that.
Okay, the 29 days and then there's 30 days. Okay, that could also be it.
I think that's what he's actually asking.
Okay, that could also be it. Well, I'm one of those who are excited that you had to complete the 30 days because they gave us an extra day before the holiday. Even though I get to spend it here, that's okay, but it's still fine. Anyway, we have more questions. This is Chibuzon Naji. He says, just like the Christians celebrate Christmas as the birth of Christ and Easter as the resurrection, how many festive, this is a question. How many festive periods are in the Muslim religion and what are their significant difference? Can you answer that? Faiza, you want to go?
Okay. Well, we have the Eid al-Kabir and the Eid-Fitr. These are the known celebrations that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had celebrated and had also called for it to be celebrated. And like every other practice in the religion, he gave us protocols and methodology on how to go about it.
Okay.
وَلِتُكَبِّرُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, for you to praise God that he guided you. So all these celebrations, the two celebrations, come after a conclusion of a particular ritual.
Okay.
The Eid al-Fitr, which is considered as the smaller Salah, is actually after the whole ritual of 29 or 30 days of fasting the entire lunar month of Ramadan.
Okay.
And that word lunar indicates to you that the Islamic calendar is solely dependent on the moon and not on the solar, not on the sun.
Okay.
So therefore, the days only change or alternate because of the change in the moon. So in Islamic calendar, there's no such thing as a leap year because we're not using the solar calendar or the solar practice or metric. We're actually using the lunar metric.
Okay.
So the question again, about the celebration, these are the two known
the two major, and that's
yes.
the one that we know as a big and small Salah. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I just want to be sure that I understand what you're saying. Okay. So let me take a few more messages. Okay, this question has no name, but it says, I enjoy your program. Thank you so much for enjoying it. Please let us know who and who are entitled to fasting, meaning the category of people in Islam who should fast and who shouldn't fast. Is that, Haja, you want to help this person?
So I'll say that's just from the feminine side, and then Faisal will see the rest.
Okay. All right.
A pregnant woman
shouldn't fast. Okay.
If she cannot. A suckling woman, woman that is breastfeeding. Children, obviously. I think from 4 you're encouraged to. You may not fast the whole of the Ramadan, but from 4
from 4 you're encouraged to do the dusk to dawn.
No, not fully, but yes, if you can, why not?
Wow. Okay.
I started at that age anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
And then a sick person, sickness that is underlining like with heavy strength. So for female, I think, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
So maybe Faisal will talk about the male.
Well, I'm amazed as the female she didn't start with the major one.
What's the major? The old woman?
No.
Okay.
A woman that's in that part of the month is actually totally exempted from fasting.
No, not totally.
I think maybe for the few days.
That's what I mean, within that period.
Okay.
Within the period she's exempted from
so
fasting.
A woman that is on
she's
her
not
period
able
as
to
well.
fast.
For the days that she's on her period.
Even if it breaks during the day, you know how it feels like, okay, I've been fasting for like 20 hours. I'm just giving you an example. You're to break your fast at around 6:45 and the whole idea, boom, 6 p.m. and there it comes. You have to actually break that fast.
Wow. If you continue, it's not...
No, it's not counted. Even if you continue, it's at your own...
But then don't wow it too much because it's not a complete loss. You actually did the fast for a reward from God. God is going to give you the reward for that fasting, but you have to make it up after the Ramadan.
Okay. All right. So here's another comment. It says, Ramadan is all about giving for Muslims. I'm happy that I was able to do that during this season. Okay, I have another message. Says, Assalamu alaikum, happy Salah, please. Oh, okay, now I won't be able to read this message on air. Maybe we'll get to talk about it later. So, Salam alaikum, this is Abdul Razak from Gwagwalada. I want to wish both Muslims and Christians happy Salah. The reason is that I am celebrating this Salah with not only Muslims, but all the Christian families around me and my friends. In fact, I was like, wow, there is no need to harmonize because there is a need for all of us to harmonize because it brings joy and happiness. I did mention earlier how that even me, I look forward to Salah because even till now, when I'm living here, I mean, Hajj has promised us that we're going to our house to go and eat. Faisal, all the food you refuse to eat, I mean, you can pass it our way. So we all look forward to Salah because we get to eat free food. So I don't know why you don't like that. You just want to read when there's a lot of food. I mean, I have about 4 neighbors who are Muslims, and I'm sure by the time I'm getting home, after I've gone to Hajia's house, there'll be a lot of food. So why would I carry my book to read at this season? I'm just joking anyway, Faisal. I mean, do what makes you happy. So I have Harun Asani. This is a whole epistle. Wow. I have Harun Asani from the city of Nasarawa. Fasting creates peace among Muslims and not Muslims. It also increases your mental health and wellness. Is that true?
Yes, it does.
Okay. If you are impatient, it teaches you patience. Yes, you've talked about that. Also, one of the beauty of fasting is when you are wealthy, it teaches you how others that are poor feels. And during Salah period, we devote ourselves in seeking Allah's forgiveness of what we did wrong before and during Ramadan, and we ask Him Almighty to accept our fasting and prayers. This question brings me to a question I've been wanting to ask. It feels like during the Ramadan, everybody sort of coordinates themselves and start to behave in a certain way. And then right after Ramadan is back to status quo. How do we not carry over these lessons we learned from Ramadan and the character we've been able to build this period into our everyday life, Ramadan or not? Let me start with you, Hajia.
For me, it has to do with lots of determination, because it shouldn't be that way. It should be, Islam is a way of life. So when you wear a particular look or a particular attitude for just a particular period, it feels funny or it sounds funny.
Yeah.
So it should be it may not be the whole way you wear in Ramadan, for example, the night prayers and all, because people have their everyday life and everyday work that they do. So it may not be all the time or every day like it was in Ramadan.
Okay.
But it shouldn't be completely off. It shouldn't be like you turn on a switch and turn it off.
But that's what it feels like.
Yes,
I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
People have
But
met.
that's not what it should be.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. You are right. That's what it feels like, but that's not what it should be. And lots of people, we keep talking about this. In fact, since I was
find
growing,
someone who is so patient during the Ramadan, and then once they're done fasting,
from Salah day,
the person is off. Let me hear from you, Faisal.
No, it's
because you've been smiling all through.
Yes, I think that's the reason why, like I said, being a nerdy, secluded thinker also gives it its own perspective. Everything you said, it's the way it is, but there's something I've understood about life as well. When you enter into a temple of worship, people of faith generally can attest to this. Any other religion, you will agree with me. When you enter into the realm of worship, you feel like you've submitted yourself into a spiritual realm. At that moment, you're actually thinking godly, everything godly. Even that bad text message that comes to you at the temple, you look like Hussein. You hide the phone.
Yeah.
Because you're in a particular spiritual realm, it gives you that whole idea of you're with God.
Yes.
And God is with you, everything He's watching. So the Ramadan, obviously, it's a month where everyone is to be at its own maximum. I won't even say its peak. You have to reach your own climax, right, of the religious practice and spirituality. So without a doubt, there are certain practices that you cannot even carry outside the Ramadan, because you will agree with me that, okay, during the last 10 days of Ramadan, we actually amplify every act of worship. Almost we double it.
Yes.
This you cannot continue outside the Ramadan.
Okay.
You can't continue doubling that. And a lot of us go into seclusion in the masajids to do what we call the itikaf. You definitely cannot do that outside the Ramadan. Your family have rights upon you. Your body has rights upon you and certain things.
Yeah, I understand that. Sorry to quote you, Sho. Yeah, while I understand what you're saying, you're talking of acts of worship, which we understand that some could be peculiar to this season. I'm talking about, I know that the Ramadan helps you to build character, help you to develop yourself, become a certain kind of, it's almost like you're so conscious of the fact that you carry God everywhere you go during the Ramadan. And then right after that, you forget that God exists. I mean, I'm talking from experience. I give an instance of patience because we had talked about that earlier, how that this season helps you to build your patience because you have to, you know, stay fasting and remind yourself at every point. When she said, whatever happens to you, whoever offends you or does something, all you have to do is tell yourself, I'm fasting, and then you move on, right? But when it is not Ramadan, something happens. Why don't you just tell yourself? I don't know.
You know,
I mean, why don't you hold yourself in? It's like you just go off.
I was defending two things.
Yes.
I didn't speak about the last one. Like I said, I started from the real window. So we don't blame the Ramadan. Ramadan is an entity. It's done its own part.
Yes.
It made you religious, spiritual at that particular period.
Yes.
But when it's gone, like I said, that was the reason why I was bringing the whole temple. So it brings you to you as a mortal. We are fallible without a doubt.
True.
You have to have a reason that it's protecting you. I'll give you an example. Myself, I feel like I maintain greater patience when I'm together with people that I'm shy of. You can actually even tell me nasty things and I'll just pretend I didn't hear. But when I'm alone, I can actually go the ruggedy out of me. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's normal. So just to answer the question, what you say, it happens. Outside the Ramadan, you have to understand that the beast in almost these people is unleashed.
I had asked you, Aja, if you've ever been tempted to break your fast in between. First, I'm never going to ask you that question because I know the answer. I'm never going to ask you, but I'll ask you though, have you ever been tempted to break your fast in between? And did you ever yield to that temptation, young or not?
Well, as a young child, she's mentioned something interesting. I met some kids recently. One said she was 8 and I asked, have you fasted? She said not even one, and I was amazed because at the age of 8, I think I had a total of 24 fasts. At the age of 8, yes, and at the age of 7, I had a total of about the same fast. Now, all the way from 7, it was a war in our house for me to break my fast. My parents would
why did I ask him this question? Like I shouldn't have bothered.
But there's something interesting I'm going to tell you. When I was younger, most of the time I would want to fast completely. They would insist I should break my fast. But guess what? When it's 3 p.m., the food preparation will start. And once I'm passing, they'll be like, okay, test this for us. Okay, this is sobo. Is it taste? Good. I will taste it. No, it's good. More sugar. You see, this is me eating indirectly. I was just a child, 6, 7. Then when I see a beautiful puff, you know, like I like confectionaries. When I see a beautiful puff, this is delicious. Halfway, maybe after eating 2, then I'll remember I'm fasting. And they'll be like, no, you have your fast. And this tells you something interesting again. In Islam, when you forget and you eat, no matter how filled you are, as long as you sincerely forgot, it is said, enjoy your meal, God fed you.
Wow. So it still counted for you as fast?
So it still counted for me as fast because I truly forgot. But as I grew older,
you truly forgot, but I feel like they helped you forget because you didn't want to break your fast and you didn't want to. Okay,
I did the job, thank God.
That's quite interesting. Okay, so let's take a few more messages before we round off the show. Our time is fast spent. So Habiba from Lokoja says, Eid Mubarak to all my family and friends and to all of you in the studio. I hope you have a great celebration. Thank you so much, Habiba. Another message from, this is Bright. I'm really enjoying your show. Thank you for the interesting conversation and all that we have to learn about the Ramadan. Thank you so much, Bright, for sending us your message. So I have another message. No name. Eid Mubarak to all my Muslim friends out there. I hope you have a great celebration. I am Otaro Victor from Taraba. Happy Salah and thank you so much for all you're doing in the studio. Thank you, Mubarak. So there are so many other messages. I have this message from, can you please stop calling? Anyway, before I get to read more messages, well, our time is almost spent, so let me take a final words from you. But meanwhile, do you have a family, Faisal? Like, are you married with children?
Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
I'll tell you after the live show.
Oh, you don't want to say it on the show? Okay, because I wanted to ask, if all you're doing is reading, so all the memories you have of, because you said you have nothing special, it's just reading. So I was going to ask how you help to create memories for people around you when it comes to the Salah. Like, how do you make them look forward to the next one? I mean, Hajia has told us that and how she does that with her children. I just want to know yours before we
With the
leave.
grace of God, I'm the type of person that for most of all my friends, relatives and family, they find me interesting if I visit them, and that happens rarely. And this is a season where I do a lot of visitation. You would find a lot of my family members.
Wait, sorry,
cousins.
go back. Let me be sure I didn't hear that alone. Hajia, did you hear that? He said they find him interesting when he visits them. I want to know what makes you interesting when you visit them.
I know he can be interesting. I can feel it already.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's not just the nerdy parts and the serious.
Well, it does a lot of good.
It does a lot of good, right?
Maybe sometimes you don't have to use a Google.
Great.
That's the part. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I get it. So go ahead.
So that visit alone, it contributes to the happiness of others. Then also, inevitably, I'll still go out there, see the way people are dressed, people are smiling, they are laughing. But guess what? I also want to look at them or watch them from a point where they aren't seeing me. I just love the seclusion part. I'm the type of person that I wouldn't mind being in an entire crowd as long as I am not seen.
Right.
So I'd rather be in that crowd with a different mask. I just want that freedom of not being seen while I see. That's my own mood.
All right, so we have to go, but just in 30 seconds, Hajia, looking forward, looking ahead from this Salah we're already almost at the end of it. So looking ahead, how do you, what are your hopes and aspirations looking ahead from all that you've learned from this Ramadan and from the Salah, carrying it on to the, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a new year at the beginning. So what are your hopes and aspirations looking ahead from all that you've learned from the past Ramadan?
Do I have any?
Oh, you should have. I mean, you said you learned a lot from this Ramadan, so there should be things like that.
Keeping up with patience.
Okay.
A lot of it. Keeping up with lots of patience. Like, since from the last Ramadan, that has been and I have been
working on it
very, very well. Like, the progress is much, and I still feel I still have to do more. Because I know people that are watching Hajia now know that Hajia can be. So, but now Hajia is a different person.
That's amazing.
Lots of patience and lots of less of noise. I want to be like Faisal.
No, please don't be like Faisal. Anyway, thank you so much, Faisal, and thank you, Hajia Khadija, for being on the show today. I mean, I had a fantastic time having this conversation with you, and I'm glad I met you, Faisal. Like, this is different from the norm. This is good. So thank you for having your tea and coming on the Medley show today. Hajia, thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much.
And we've come to the end of today's edition of the Medley show. I hope you had fun with us. I hope you had a great time enjoying our conversation here in the studio. And until I come your way again next week, my name is Tochi. You take care now. Bye-bye.